Our story begins in 1735 in the kingdom of Joseon, located in what is now South Korea. The ruling monarch was King Yeongjo. He was known as a hard-working and intelligent king, but he was also incredibly strict. Jeongjo believed that perfection was the standard for royalty. Mistakes weren't tolerated, weakness wasn't accepted, and unfortunately, these expectations would have devastating consequences for his son. That son was Prince Sado. From the moment he was born, enormous pressure was placed on him. As the crown prince, he wasn't just expected to become king, he was expected to become the perfect king. Every movement was monitored, every lesson was evaluated, every mistake was criticized. For most children, childhood is a time of learning and growth. For Sado, childhood was an endless examination, and his examiner was one of the most demanding fathers in history. At first, Sado appeared promising. He learned quickly, he followed court traditions, and everyone believed he would eventually succeed his father. But beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to form. Part 2. A father's impossible expectations. As Sado grew older, his relationship with King Yeongjo became increasingly strained. The king constantly criticized him. No matter how hard Sado worked, it never seemed enough. If he made one mistake, the king focused on that mistake. If he succeeded, the king simply expected more. Imagine spending your entire life trying to earn someone's approval, only to realize that approval may never come. Historians believe the constant pressure deeply affected Sado's mental state. Over time, witnesses reported strange behavior. The prince became fearful, anxious, unpredictable. Some accounts claimed he suffered severe emotional breakdowns. Others described violent outbursts. The royal court began whispering. Something was wrong with the crown prince, but instead of receiving understanding or treatment, Sado faced even more criticism. His father viewed these problems as personal failures, and that only made things worse. Part 3. The Prince's Descent. As the years passed, the situation became increasingly alarming. Historical records describe Sado as suffering from intense fear and paranoia. According to court accounts, he became terrified whenever he had to meet his father. Even getting dressed reportedly caused him anxiety because he feared making a mistake. Imagine being so afraid of disappointing someone that even choosing clothes becomes terrifying. The pressure consumed him. Some records also accuse Sado of violent actions against palace staff. Because many of these accounts were written by political rivals and court officials, historians still debate how accurate they are. But one thing is clear, the royal court increasingly viewed Sado as unstable, and that perception created a dangerous situation. Because in a monarchy, perception often matters as much as reality. A crown prince seen as unfit could threaten the stability of the entire kingdom. Soon, powerful officials began discussing a question nobody wanted to ask. What should be done about the heir to the throne? Part 4. The King's Terrible Choice. King Yeongjo faced an impossible dilemma. On one hand, Sado was his son. On the other hand, Sado was the future ruler of the kingdom. Removing the crown prince could create political chaos. Executing him openly could damage the royal family's reputation. The king needed a solution. And, eventually, he chose one that would become infamous throughout history. In 1762, tensions reached their breaking point. Court officials reportedly warned the king that Sado's behavior had become dangerous. Pressure mounted from every direction. The king finally made his decision, but instead of ordering a formal execution, he chose something far stranger, something far more horrifying. He ordered Sado to climb into a wooden rice chest, a large storage box normally used to hold grain. The prince obeyed. Perhaps he believed it was temporary. Perhaps he thought his father would change his mind. Perhaps he simply had no choice. Then the lid was closed and locked. Part 5. 8 Days of Horror. The chest sat in the palace courtyard. Inside was Crown Prince Sado, the heir to the throne, a royal prince, a man who had once been expected to rule millions, now trapped inside a cramped wooden box. Day 1 passed, then day 2, then day 3. The summer heat grew unbearable. The chest became an oven. There was no room to stand comfortably. Little air entered. No food was provided. No water was given. The prince's condition deteriorated rapidly. Imagine the desperation, the confusion, the terror. Knowing your own father had ordered this punishment, knowing every passing hour brought you closer to death. Yet no rescue came, no pardon arrived, no miracle occurred. For 8 days, Sado remained imprisoned inside the chest. Until eventually, he died. He was only 27 years old. Part 6. The Aftermath. The death shocked the kingdom. Officially, the crisis was over. The troublesome crown prince was gone. But the consequences were only beginning, because Sado had a son, a young boy named Yeon, the future king. Yeon had witnessed the destruction of his father, and he would never forget it. Years later, Yeon became king under the name King Yeongjo. Unlike many rulers who tried to erase uncomfortable history, Jeongjo honored his father's memory. He worked to restore Sado's reputation. He promoted officials who supported his father's legacy, and he spent much of his reign trying to heal the wounds left by the tragedy. In many ways, the story of Prince Sado didn't end with his death. It continued through the son who refused to let him be forgotten. Part 7. Was Sado really guilty? This is where the story becomes even more fascinating. Modern historians still debate what actually happened. Was Sado truly dangerous? Was he suffering from severe mental illness? Or was he the victim of political enemies who exaggerated his behavior? The truth is complicated. Many historical records come from people who had political reasons to portray him negatively. Others genuinely believed he posed a threat. Because of this, historians continue to argue about the details centuries later. What isn't debated is the outcome. A crown prince died at the order of his own father, and the method of execution remains one of the most shocking in royal history. Part 8. The ultimate betrayal. Throughout history, kings have betrayed brothers. Queens have betrayed husbands. Princes have betrayed parents. But few betrayals compared to the tragedy of Prince Sado. The person who ended his life wasn't an enemy king. It wasn't a foreign invader. It wasn't a political assassin. It was his own father, the man responsible for protecting him, the man who had watched him grow up, the man who should have loved him unconditionally. Whether King Yeongjo acted out of fear, duty, political pressure, or genuine belief that he was protecting the kingdom remains debated, but the result was the same. A father sacrificed his son, and history never forgot. Outro. The story of Crown Prince Sado remains one of history's darkest royal tragedies.